Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon, so a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Vornier, JMails24, Unimento, M, Iron26, Endless, Goldie McKiernan, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Fibre Oats, Bogey, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Will Brax, Mel B. Styles, Troy Shuker, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Neo the One, Rob W, Open Minded, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Nealand, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their conversation while I set up for today's live show.
Oh, is Nathan there?
I'm here. Yeah.
Oh, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Wait, Humble, can you wait a second before you start?
Sure. Yep.
I just want to get something out of the way. I gotta turn my music down. Right, Nathan, I got somebody to help you with the show. Okay, and his name is a B with a buzz, because I need to start focusing more on when the show is done, right? Like managing and setting up people in Discord for after when the show is done. So I need to manage my time a little bit better. And I have a B with a buzz who does basically what I do when I'm around on the show. I post Discord links to Skype and vice versa, and I help out with whatever else you need. Follow me?
Yeah, I follow you.
Right. So if he's not around, I will be around. But if he's around, I may not be around. So if you need any help or anything like that, you can ask a B with a buzz. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. And that's kind of it, because I need to manage my time a bit better. So I also have to be after the show is done, and so on and so forth, right?
No, I
So,
totally appreciate that.
okay. And he's very helpful, so he'll be very helpful to you too, okay?
Okie doke.
Okay, that's it. Go on, Humble.
Good morning.
Morning, 10th.
Did you finish Sabine yesterday?
No, we didn't even start, did we?
Okay. Oh, okay. Because I wanted to hear what happened because I had to leave.
It's flat Earth science, right? Wrong but not stupid.
Yeah, that was one.
Okay. Well, we'll do it. Let's do it. We did a bit of it yesterday in the pre-show. You happy to do a bit of it now?
Yeah, I've got more lined up for you. So
You got a different one?
no, I got many. Yeah, I've got. In fact, why don't we hold Sabine for tomorrow? Let me send you the three I got because they're kind of on topic with your latest short, which talks about to be a flat earther and not back away from that terminology.
Okay.
And it's three different people. I just sent it just now.
In Mass Debaters? Oh, yes, I
Mass
got it.
debaters.
So we've got David
So one
Mitchell
is,
or the Flat Earth Debate done. Cummins. Which one do you want me to do? David Mitchell or Dan Cummins?
Dan Cummins. Oh, no, just in order. They're all short ones. Just do all three in order. The last one, I think, is the longest, which is Bill Nye.
I got you. So I got you. It's just it delivers it with thumbnails in a weird order to me. So we've got David Mitchell's rant, Flat Earth Debate with Dan Cummins, and Bill Nye and BoB, etc.
BoB.
Okay.
Yep.
So you just want me to start with the first one, which is David Mitchell's rant. Okay.
Your observer columns over kind of the last 5 years,
Yes,
yeah. And the columns kind of cover, things that are going on in the news and in our culture and in our society.
Just tell you what this actually is. So this is David Mitchell's hilarious rant on the Flat Earth Society, the Graham Norton Show. Obviously, the channel is the Graham Norton Show, which is actually, I believe, a BBC or ITV production. It's very mainstream here in the UK. This guy with the beard. So yeah.
And it's one of the things you pick up on is what's happened to facts. That facts aren't what they once were.
Yeah, facts. I thought you were talking about the defunct way of sending messages.
No.
Oh, okay. So this guy, what's his name? David Mitchell, was on a show called QI, Quite Interesting. And on that show, they went through the half-life of facts, which is something I may segue into, which is why I've put it in here, just so I can draw attention to it, depending on whether or not it contradicts that particular discussion. We'll see.
What happened to that? Well, I'll tell you what's happened to that, the internet. It's the least of its victims.
This is only a couple of minute long clip, so I can't imagine it'll take him long to get into the Flat Earth Society, which there's a good chance we'll agree with, because it's specifically about Flat Earth Society, as opposed to just sort of an overarching stereotyping fallacy, which this may well not be, or it may very well be just titled Flat Earth Society. But when you've got it separated into a group like that, I'm not them, so it's fine in many ways. As long as it's accurate, we'll see.
Yes, well, that's the thing. The internet has happened to both forms of fact, both faxes and facts. The internet has seen to.
Yes.
Because now...
Okay, so far, nothing.
Essentially, you can't tell truth from lies. They both look perfectly nicely typeset. They're both on web.
That's got nothing to do with the internet. That's got everything to do with people's level of discernment. What? Okay.
Site. Loads of people endlessly saying how mainstream media is all lies. It's not all lies, is it? I mean, in fact...
I don't know. I generally take an auto-hoaxing view to the point where I don't even watch mainstream media at all anymore. Yeah, I just try and avoid it at all costs. I still get fed it whether I want it or not.
There's a lot more recourse if there is a specific lie in mainstream media than there is on a random website that someone's just put up there. But people are going around saying, no, mainstream media is all lies.
Yeah, I can kind of understand why people would take that attitude. It's a bit extremist in the regard that there's going to be certain things that you can find in the mainstream media that are pretty benign and aren't lied about. But again, I'll say it again, I completely understand and empathise with people who take that attitude to mainstream media, of which this guy is a part of.
And that is bullshit. And the fact that people think that...
Well, it takes away your credibility if people do that, because they move away from shows that you're on, like I have. So I'm not watching this guy. I mean, I'm watching him now, because it's been put under my nose on this show. But typically speaking, since I parted ways with television, there's no interaction between me and this guy anymore, this Mitchell guy. Well, you're going to obviously be pissed about that, so you're going to say, oh, obviously when people say that the mainstream media is all lies, which is an overgeneralisation, but I understand why they do that. But it obviously offends him because he's part of it.
It is extremely worrying, but it's one of the other terrible effects of the internet, that the truth, it is out there, but it may never again be discerned.
So what? Because it's the medium of the internet, that's somehow different to the media being, your media? An outrage when it's your media claimed to be nonsensical, but it's going to presumably double standard his way through internet being wrong, because anybody can say anything, probably be his next justification. We'll see.
But also, would you seem to be going backwards? Like, you talk in the book about how we now have to listen to people saying the Earth is flat.
Don't have to do anything. Don't have to listen to me. Don't have to listen to the Flat Earth Society. That's up to you. That, again, comes back to what I said originally. It's discernment, isn't it? In the same way Mitchell's just said that there's truth out there, you just have to figure your way through it. Well, yeah. Well, in regards to listening to people who say the Earth's flat, you don't have to listen to anybody saying anything about anything, ever. But if they've got decent enough information to present to you, you'd be a fool not to listen to it or reject it out of hand.
Yeah. Yes, that's one of the pieces in there is about the new Flat Earth International Conference. It isn't a conference from the 14th century. This is a conference that started, I think, in 2017.
Okay. So a conference that isn't necessarily us. Although, from my awareness, there's probably people that we agree with in certain aspects of their day-to-day flat earthing at that conference. I don't know specifically which conference he's talking about, but so.
And it is a growing thing, and that's because people are so contrarian, people are so willing to believe unsubstantiated.
So this is a generalization then, stereotyping fallacy. So we're contrarian, are we? What, because we're contradicting the mainstream rhetoric of a sphere Earth? Because you are just talking about everybody bundled into this category of thinking now.
Things that have websites, that they are now going back on the conclusion we have all rightly drawn.
We? Who's we? We have all rightly drawn. What, you, the mainstream media, that you're offended when we say you talk lies? The mainstream consensus? Yes, good job. There's people like us on the internet that talk about scientific validity.
Drawn about the shape of the planet we live on.
Why has it got to have a shape? Oh, that's right, because you've got a heliocentric belief in which you presuppose that it's a spherical shape, when flat's merely an aspect to describe the baseline we measure all the topology against. Well, that's flat. That's not a shape.
And that people are sort of going, and by people I mean idiots, are saying, I'm a questioning person, so why am I going to go along with it?
So what, questioning people are the idiots, are they? The preface for somebody who's an idiot is that they're going to start by saying that they're going to question things.
This idea that the world is round.
Why should we question that? Why shouldn't we? Why would it be defined as being idiotic to question something? That seems unreasonable, to say that questioning things is to make you idiotic. No, it doesn't.
There's that word again, round, not spherical. Keep going with the round again.
Still a shape. I don't know what shape the Earth is. Why should I ascribe any shape to it when it's navigated and measured flat? That's an aspect. That's a baseline. That's the world that we're actually dealing with. Well, me questioning your in this instance, I'll put it on Mitchell's shoulders, your religious belief. Your religion of heliocentrism. That's a religious faith. And you're outraged that people should question it? Well, fair enough.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because people went up in a rocket.
What, to outer space? So you think that the rocket went through the gas pressure you're breathing right now? To waffle on and be outraged about people questioning things, making them idiotic in your view? They traversed the gas pressure we're breathing into a 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum called outer space to have a little looky back at Earth from a place that doesn't exist. No, the rockets didn't go and get you any validity for your automatic assumption without any personal validation that we have gone out and looked at Earth from space, because space isn't real. If the sky was a vacuum, then the gas you're breathing would all vacate into that area of volume. It's gas law. Just shows how much you understand about gas behaviour.
Looked out of the window and took a bloody photo.
Did they? A photograph from a Narnia region called outer space, sky vacuum, so the rocket can traverse the gas pressure into this area, but the gas pressure isn't. Just sort of stops. And then the rocket goes past it and looks back at the gas clinging to a ball in a sky vacuum in violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Just goes to show what a complete idiot David Mitchell is. Doesn't understand natural law, gas behaviour. Nobody's traversing gas pressure to enter an area of volume that hasn't got gas filling it, to look back at an Earth with a gas clinging to it and not expanding into the volume of space that you're taking the picture from. There are no pictures from space. It's akin to Narnia. You've been deceived. We're questioning it, and that doesn't make us idiots. It makes you a fool, David Mitchell. Right, should we cue up the next one?
Comment? Yeah, let me give my opinion on this guy. So, where was the evidence other than pictures and ad homs about people who question the current reality that we find contradictions in? So, I mean, if we didn't see contradictions, we probably wouldn't question it. But we see the contradictions. They tell us the contradictions. We got gas pressure, but then we got that next to a vacuum. And we know that should combine into one volume of whatever. It can't, what's separating the two? I mean, we know that there's something wrong with that explanation. And so we're idiots for questioning that. but he never provided anything. And we'll find out that all of them don't provide any actual proof for anything. They demean anyone asking questions. So this is kind of perfect timing with that little short you did, like I said earlier, where if you know what you have is true, be proud of it and don't worry about the name calling. And if you can't handle the heat, as some people can't, then they soften who they are. Oh no, I'm not a flat earther. Well, what are you then? If you're not a flat earther, what are you then?
A quick question.
Yeah, feel free.
Yeah, sorry. I earlier wanted to weigh in on something that I've been.
Humble. Can I interrupt, please? Is this going to be something that's going to change Nathan from doing the next 2 videos? Because if it is, I'd like for you to wait.
Well, with all due respect, I was speaking to Nathan earlier before you even came in, and
well, then I apologize. Go ahead.
Well, only if Nathan says it's okay.
I already did. Go ahead.
Okay. Your show, the questions you do when you start the show, we call them what?
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. Can you tell us the reason you use that, or what does it mean?
Okay. Keeping house, keeping things in the same order. So if you're in a hotel and you're the housekeeping, you go into the room after the person's finished in the room and make sure it's the same order as when it was last used. So everybody walks into the room and it looks the same every time. That's what we're doing. We're setting the stage every time the show starts, so that when people walk into this show, they're presented with the same information, the same questions. Therefore, they've got to lead into the same reasoning every single time the show starts. The reason it got that name, or the first person to use it in that context, was Anthony Riley, as is the case with a lot of these things. He just said, we need to start highlighting all of the different wins that we've had over the course of the debate. And as we accumulate these wins, we can formulate them into questions that demonstrate how the argument has progressed and hopefully invite somebody to challenge it again, even though it's a done deal with all of the housekeeping questions, right? They've already been solved in all the cases. They've already got answers that are indefensible by our opponents. That's why they've been formulated that way. But you need to consider that somebody's coming in fresh. Many people have come into the hotel room and they've stuck bubblegum under the bed. But for a lot of people, they don't know there's any bubblegum under the bed. They just need to walk into the same room again. So we do the housekeeping to keep things consistent. Hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. Yes, because I didn't want to make an assumption about it, but in a sense, it has a connection to what I was going to say, because scripturally speaking, as Christians, we usually try, Jesus said to, make sure you move the rafter out of your own eye before you look into somebody else's. So I thought it had a connection to, make sure you clear up what's going on with yourself.
Slight misquote. So it's pull the plank out of your own eye before you try and pull the splinter out of your brother's eye.
Got you. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah, so based on that, I was wondering, and it's good to have 10th here, because I was wondering, I was very intrigued by his video he put out on what is science. I was wondering, and I would be, scrounged together a little deposit, whatever they call it, to hear a critique of that video as to what is the purity of science that he was after, and compare it to what we find in the double slit experiment, as to when math enters that process, is it still retaining the purity of science? And just get the panel's view on that, because I'm having trouble with it, and you did a great job in trying to explain it to me the other day, but it just sent me into a weekend of reading stuff that...
Okay, I'll try and give you because you've phrased it in a different way. I can give you a different answer. You're asking when necessarily would mathematics come into scientific method? The answer necessarily is never. Because the difference is between qualitative explanations and quantitative explanations. And in the case of a cause for an effect you're studying, you can't give the mathematics quantitative unless you've qualified what will occur first. Let me give you an example. If we're talking about water boiling and the cause of the effect is the application of heat, we can, after figuring out that heat causes water to boil, start to math how much heat. Maybe give the heat we're applying a scale. Give the scale a name. Things like that. Now, if you don't have the qualitative account for what's going to actually induce the effect you're studying, and you start mathsing it, so instead of heat, we say acid quantity, proportion of acid in the water causes it to boil, and you start mathsing how much acid, yeah, you haven't actually established the cause yet. So you can apply maths once you know the cause, but establishing the cause is entirely devoid of any maths. It's just you'll vary something that appears in nature physically that you can actually vary and is your presumed cause in the hypothesis. You're going to physically vary that. There's no maths involved. You vary it. That is to say, what was Anthony's? You wiggle it. You physically give it a wiggle and see if the thing happens that you're studying. If you wiggle it and it happens, you've validated cause and effect. Where's the maths? There isn't any. Now afterwards, you can say, well, how much did you wiggle it? But that how much you wiggled it is irrelevant if what you're wiggling doesn't cause the effect. You see? So the maths can only come after cause and effect reasoning's established. And in the case of the double slit, describing a diffraction pattern with a mathematical term, diffraction pattern, wave function, is irrelevant of what's happening. There's light distribution on the wall, that's what you're seeing. Doesn't matter how it's described with English or maths. You just have to look at it and see it. You don't even have to verbalize what you're seeing. You just see it. Then you've got to try and induce it. You've got to try and cause the phenomena to occur. In this case, wave function collapse. Well, that once you've caused it, you can say, why my thing that I varied caused that to happen? Because you've got an explanation at that point. Well, the maths for diffraction, wave function, you can use without having any science. You can look at diffraction patterns, not have anything causing them to collapse. In other words, no phenomena to study. It's just light on a wall. Nothing's happening. And you can say, with this particular type of light, it gives me this particular diffraction pattern. And you can derive wave function through that. But you don't need any science to do that. You're just describing the phenomena. Well, you're not even describing the phenomena. You're describing a concrete noun. In the case of diffraction, it just is. What's happening? Well, nothing. It's just light that's diffracted. That's it. What's happening?
Hey, I got a
Nothing.
quick question. I got a question real quick.
Well, hold on. Humble. Go ahead.
But the collapse of the wave function, it's not something that can be seen. If I took water and I said boiling water or water boiling is caused by heat, and I just give you temperature numbers or work out a mathematical formula for heat and saying that's the cause, this is what I feel that we're having here is a mathematical explanation for something that when we then say it collapses, I'm not sure why I'm missing something here, because I'm reading and I'm saying, look, why is more than half of modern interpretations of quantum mechanics deny the collapse of the wave function. There's even an argument as to whether this thing takes
I tell you,
place.
let me answer you. Because their descriptions, the people, the half of them that deny it, rely on a physical wave. Well, if the wave that they're describing in physical terms, with a speed of light and a heliocentric model, collapses, what do you think that means in literal terms when they've reified a mathematical description of interference as a physical light wave moving through a medium? If you've got wave function collapse, how do you think that jives with the heliocentric description of light as a wave through a medium? Good or bad? What you're finding in the contradictions about quantum mechanics is its inability to conform with Einstein. Essentially, quantum mechanics has debunked Einstein. That's the problem. Now, do we live in an Einsteinian world? Yes, we do. So what do you think 50% of the people who live in that Einsteinian world try and do with the maths? The bit that comes after the qualitative experimentation that's debunking his maths. Because it doesn't matter about how you describe wave function. Doesn't make any difference how you describe it in maths, but you've interwoven it because many of the things you'll be studying as you search through this are hyper confusing, right? Because they're describing it mathematically and disagreeing with it by giving you comparative maths from an Einsteinian pseudo fourth dimensional worldview. That's what you're experiencing. I can see it now that by the way your questioning's coming to me. I shouldn't be smiling and smug about it, but I've done the same thing. And then asked the same questions. I've gone back to QE with the same stuff. And he's had to explain it to me. So I'm doing a reasonable job, which is why I'm pleased of telling you this. But as I keep telling you, you need to approach QE about this. He's the one who knows. What's his namesake? Quantum Eraser.
Very true. And I have the same smile on my face too, trying to sort this out. But again, I have to say thank you and get back. Sorry.
It's good little. I enjoyed my time looking into this, actually. I've got to be honest. That's why I'm smiling as well, because I can think of it with fond memories. As much as while you're doing your digging, you seem to come across contradictions. And I was lucky enough to just have a direct line to QE and just be able to ask these questions. And you're sort of doing that with me, and I'm 1/10 of 1% of the information needed to be able to expand on this in any way beyond what I've told you. And I'm in control of this conversation, right? So QE, on the other hand, has an expansive knowledge on this stuff. You know, me, I'm just parroting off what I've thought. Why doesn't this work? Maybe the same will happen to you, Humble, in 10 months' time, when someone's going, no, this don't make any sense. It just seems like they're describing this phenomena as a non-phenomena in mathematics. If it's a wave function by way of probability distribution, that's just maths, right? And they're saying it doesn't work. No.
Well, you're doing a good job, Nathan, because I've been enlightened.
I hope so. I've had no criticism from QE, although I don't know if how much of this stuff he's listened back to. We'll find out, hopefully.
You mean you were able to wave through it, Neil?
Yes, oh, good one.
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Now we are joined by Neil, 10th Man, Brian's Logic, Eli, Arwin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Yeah. Let's get it on.
Good afternoon,
everyone.
Good afternoon.
Wow, such enthusiasm.
Good morning.
Brilliant stuff. Excellent, excellent. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon, formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
Nonsense.
The circle of the equator.
It's taken
Negative.
by way
Debunked
of
by the Black
elevation.
Swan, 2020.
Yes, Black Swan. But yeah, no, the circle of the equator is taken by way of flat Earth elevation angle measurements to Polaris.
So?
So that's a flat Earth angle measurement to give you that value, the equator.
But that's just a bunch of mathematics. I mean, it's still a circle.
Taken
could
from a
still-
flat plane. Yeah, it's just mathematics of an angle taken from a flat plane called the equator.
Well, it might seem like that mathematically, but come on.
It's actually a half a circle called a meridian.
Okay, so moving on. Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety?
Absolutely none whatsoever.
We wouldn't expect to see any Coriolis deviation at ground level because of drag.
You and your reference frames are ruined. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
claim of 15 degrees an hour deviation as Earth turns underneath as a non-inertial turning reference frame.
Up where?
In the sky.
In space, outside of the atmosphere.
Well, sphere-shaped air, begging the question fallacy. Air doesn't take the shape of a sphere. Is there any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container, sphere-shaped or otherwise, to press upon?
Gravity wells. In pseudo-Riemannian force space, I also figured out that in pseudo-Riemannian force space, gases actually do function like liquids.
Let's get this
Did you
in the
know
right
that?
order this
Still
time.
Riemannian force space.
I can deal
Arwin,
with this
do we live
quickly.
in
I've
pseudo-
got it in the right order. It's all right. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Not scientific. no.
Yeah, that's
Well,
shown
that
right.
depends
No,
on
but
what you mean by science.
Cause and effect reasoning based on a
No.
hypothesis.
No, but there
Okay.
seems to be a lot in pseudo-Riemannian force space.
It's maths.
Yeah.
Uh,
Everything is in
What are you doing,
pseudo-Riemannian
tenth?
force space.
Undermining and hijacking me. Any scientific evidence? Arwen asked for clarity. That's cause and effect. Validation through an experiment based on a hypothesis, based on a naturally observed phenomena. Start there. Give me a naturally observed phenomena for gravity, not pseudo force-based time wells.
Yeah, but we can't vary and manipulate pseudo-Riemannian force space time
Don't tell me
wells
what you
because
can't.
We can't just
Ah.
hold on. I'm not done yet. We
Yeah, you're
can't
just telling me what you
scoop
can't do.
around. We can't just scoop around
Yeah, don't tell me what we can't do.
planetary sizes,
2 for 2.
masses around in order to vary and manipulate.
Don't care what we can't do. What is the phenomena?
not fair.
Just concede. Don't tell me what you can't do. Don't care. What can you
It's
do?
like
Give me a
asking
phenomena.
to prove God with using the scientific method, right?
Appeal to
I mean,
God
come
fallacy.
on.
Look,
You can't vary and manipulate. Doesn't mean that's not there.
can't. It's very slipped in the middle of this rather heated for no reason discussion that we're having. Can't, right? Just can't vary and manipulate that which you assume in pseudo force space to be real. It's not. It's maths.
Well,
in
Well,
reality,
not without destroying everyone.
we already have gravity as an assertion, Arwin. You've already detailed what it is pseudo force space time wells. Okay. Now, pseudo is there for a reason. I'm saying any scientific evidence of gravity will start with the observed natural phenomena. You've then launched into rumpusing and typical baller behaviour in terms of overriding the point by saying what you can't do over the top of me pointing out, I don't want to hear it, what we can't do. Just give me a naturally occurring phenomena. Then we'll move forward with that phenomena that we're observing something happening in physical reality, not in pseudo force space. And then we'll
Okay.
move on to the hypothesis. See if it's been
Okay,
validated
well-
or not.
Sorry to interrupt you last second. You're right. I mean, it is conceptual, but yeah, if you want scientific evidence, well, then gravity waves. It has been physically detected with like these giant plates,
What's
and then
gravity?
there's like this weird glitches, and they could not isolate it to be anything else known. So that's how they concluded there has to be a gravity wave. There's a ripple in the gravity in pseudo-Riemannian force space. But it expresses itself physically here on Earth like that.
Stop. I didn't need all that. I needed a phenomena, and before we've even got to putting the phenomena through the cause and effect relationship that should be in place for a scientific method-based claim, that's actual science, scientific evidence for gravity. Before we've even got there, you've said that the phenomena's gravity waves, and then in the same breath, you've managed to get all the way through to the begging the question fallacy of the causal relationship being gravity. If gravity, then gravity. So we already got there before I need to do anything, because I listened, I can summarise it. But it would have been nice to actually have gone through that in the order. So you're saying gravity waves are the phenomena. Well, we already know how you're saying that the phenomena is being caused by gravity, right? That's a begging the question fallacy, Arwin.
On steroids.
Why? Didn't you need a natural phenomenon and to isolate that and then very manipulate it?
No.
In order to establish it?
No, you vary and manipulate that which you assume caused it. But let's see it first. Where do we see gravity waves?
Well, they detect it on these very sensitive plates.
No, in nature.
Apple falls from tree?
So we're going to research the reason why apples fall from tree. Helium balloons go up.
That's the original
Gases expand in all
premise if you want
directions.
it purely
Oh my God,
the
rumpusing
natural
begins
way.
because I'm starting to undo his crap. For typical baller behaviour from Arwin, even though he's not a baller. Okay. No. Helium balloon goes up. Gas expands in all directions. So this phenomena isn't a phenomena because not all things go down. So no.
Why would it all need to go
Why are you
down?
questioning me? Where's the gravity wave? We're supposed to be starting with a phenomena. Where's the natural phenomena? Not something that happens in a machine on plates. For you to beg the question that that's a gravity wave and what's the causal gravity. No. What's the natural phenomenon? Not apple falling. Because things go up as well as down. Depends on the medium. But who cares? That's not the phenomena. If so, we're going to study the cause and effect relationship that is apples falling. To give us science for apples falling, not bloody gravity.
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know the fine detail of exactly what it is, how they measure the gravity waves with those plates. Maybe, hold on, let me finish.
What do you mean? There's nothing else to say.
I'm not done yet. I'm only halfway my statement. I haven't actually contentedly said anything yet.
That's the point. I've asked for scientific evidence. You've not said anything or given us anything useful.
You're rumpusing me.
Now, because you're telling us you haven't got anything and then saying I need to do the other half of the statement.
No, I haven't finished my statement.
After telling us you haven't got anything, I don't need anything else. There's no natural phenomena and there's no science. Don't need any apologetics.
I wasn't done with my statement yet. I was getting to it. You keep over-talking me.
Okay, let's be reasonable. Right? Let me just ask a quick question about your next statement. Will the next statement provide scientific evidence for gravity?
Potentially.
Yes or no? Yes. Not potential. I don't care about potential. It's already in existence.
Well, I am not a specialist at the mechanics.
Why can't you just say no so we can move on? Why are you making this like pulling teeth out? I don't get it, Arwin. It's just, what is it? You want to just piss me off and frustrate me at the beginning of the show because you just simply, as a Baldwin, can't concede. There's no phenomena. Can't we move on? Why are you keeping us here? It's boring.
Well, if you don't want to talk,
it's just boring.
But I am trying to actually fulfill.
I'm trying to go through housekeeping, but you want to keep this non-point about not having any scientific evidence, like you've got a non-point to make. I'm like, right.
Okay.
So you haven't got any scientific evidence.
Then.
Can we move on? No,
okay,
and then I'm going to get accused of being rumpusing you while you're talking through my statements constantly.
Yeah, because you're constantly complaining about how I put my.
Now he's just shouting through his fucking mic. Sick of it. Aaron's becoming a bit of a prick, it seems, audience.
So I'll just move on and stop doing Bowen then, because this is bullshit.
You don't have to move on and do anything. You just have to realise that when the concession point comes, as an actual flat earther, you can actually just say, yeah, you're right, I don't have a phenomena, rather than rumpusing the crap out of me and making it into some big deal when all I want to do is get through housekeeping. I don't want a 10-minute discussion on there being no phenomena for gravity, followed by you rage quitting after accusing me of rumpusing you for a non-point that you desperately need to make. It's like, what the hell? All you've done is sabotage the beginning of the show, Arwin. So thanks very much for a 10-minute pointless discussion when we're doing housekeeping that's supposed to be concise. because what, Baldwin's got a non-point to make? Oh, thank you so much. Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
No. All they could do is have an observation of something, but
You don't even
in
know
those
what my
fields they
point is.
can't apply.
Oh, and
What?
go away.
What's going on here?
Oh, and go away. Go away.
Okay. Bye. Have fun there with your.
Yeah, I am. I'm just
non-baller.
trying to run I'm trying to run a bloody live show, but you're deciding that you're going to sabotage. So yeah, go away. I don't want your company if you're going to sabotage my live show by telling me we don't know what we're talking about and you haven't let me make your point. We all know there's no scientific evidence for gravity. We're doing housekeeping. Now, I entertained your nonsense for as long as you felt it was needing entertaining. Now I'm sick of it. 10 straight minutes about gravity. No, it's not reasonable. I don't need to hear a non-point. Once I've got you to finally actually say, no, there isn't anything in physical reality, I don't need the rest of it. It's not concise for an audience. The whole point of this first half of the show isn't to drag out Baldwin's bloody mental masturbation for 10 straight minutes on one subject. Not at all. It's fun for 2 minutes, 3 at tops. 10 minutes, my blood pressure raises. I just want to move on. It's housekeeping. It's supposed to be concise. Will it be? No, Arwin's here. No, it's got to be 10 minutes on gravity. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No, no evidence, and the evidence that they base it on is no evidence because they need an R value. They don't even have that.
Baller behaviour from Arwin is just as irritating as actual baller behaviour. And because I love Arwin, he's ace, right? It's even more irritating because he's a mate. So in some way, I feel like I should be able to reason with him as a mate, right? But he's doing his thing, and Baldwin's thing is a carbon copy of your typical baller, how they'll behave, right? Well, that is custom designed to get you irritated, to get me talking through Arwin so he can accuse me of rumpusing him when he's dragging the point out, not conceding, being irritating, actually rumpusing me, right? But in so doing, he can call foul. He's doing all the dirty baller tricks. Well, yeah, fine if there's a point to actually be made. The baller dirty tricks, because there's a concession that doesn't want to be made 2 or 3 times, makes the point that that's how ballers behave. That's very useful. I don't want to lose that. You know, I hope Arwin will get over me getting annoyed with him dragging this out for what I consider to be far too long. It is useful because there's no ballers actually here who've got the courage to do that, to actually try and obfuscate their losing points. Who else is doing it? Without Arwin, what have we got? Let's be honest. People watching who don't want to come in to have the same treatment that I'm giving Arwin. And unfortunately, if he's going to push it that far, I'm going to click into anti-flat Earth defeating Nathan. That's how he's going to, you know, if he wants to play Baldwin, he's got to deal with me teabagging him, hasn't he? That's how it goes, right? Is that not unreasonable? I'm not being any different to what if a normal baller, non-Arwin, was coming in doing the same thing. I'd be the same, would I not? I'm dragging this out.
I've been shut down for much less.
You have. That's true.
You don't have to defend it. We've all been shut down for much less. He went on way too long.
80 people watching though, so I assume people will go, oh, this is ace. Share. I'll actually share today. Hopefully you'll come back and there'll be more rows. Internal disputes don't typically happen on the live show. Anyway, let's move on with housekeeping. Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius?
Well, that's all we need, right? I mean, we just need it to be where it's supposed to be. A geometric horizon would match their math of 3959 and the observer height. And that's all we would need to know that the Earth had an R value, but they can't produce that.
Owen stayed in character in the live chat. You did teabag shit, Nathan. You rumpused me like a loser. He's still in character.
Hey, he's got. Hold on, he's got Phil B taking his back, saying they
Phil
don't
B's got your
understand
back.
you, Owen.
Okay, come on. Can we move
Excellent.
on?
Yes, let's move on.
Can we move on? Can we
Any
move on
evidence
to
you can I'm
the
just
review
wiping the
videos
tears out
once
my
we're done
eyes.
with this?
Just give me a second. Any evidence you can require an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
Another impossibility. They don't ever. Well, no one does. Well, it can't be done. You can't have a elevation angle from a curved baseline. The sextant can never work off of the surface of the globe if the globe has a curved baseline, which it must.
Isn't that why they cut the Earth in half, and do all their nonsense?
What? Cut the Earth in half?
Well, they don't even have to cut it in half. You just say, where is the measurements originating from? Well, to the naked eye, it's the guy on the boat with the sextant on sea level, assuming the Earth is curved, but not curved, but assuming. In the books, it says, no. It's not the guy with the sextant at sea level who assumes the Earth is curved with the Dingleberry drawing we give him in the book. It's from the equatorial plane where there is no curve. It's a disk.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Negative.
95 people watching. Please share the show. Reacting to a few videos today, so if we do get over 120 people watching, which is like my standard, to say, okay, we'll extend the live show. Got up to 115 yesterday without any prompting. So hopefully with a bit of prompting to share the show, we'll get up to 120 and we'll plough our way through some reaction videos. We've already done David Mitchell in the pre-show. And I like David Mitchell, I've got to be honest. I think he's funny. But, you know, using stereotyping fallacies and humour with disdain as opposed to, this is funny. Yeah, it got some laughs from the audience, but it didn't seem very funny to me. Anyway, that's in the pre-show. Check that out if you're a member. It'll come out in a few days. If you're not, on the second channel, subscribe today. Did we cover all of the housekeeping questions? Brian, did you want to add the Brian housekeeping question? Any evidence that great circle roots are actually circles? Brian, sharp as a tack. I love it. Tap this. Is this on?
I watched the video.
I'm sorry. Hello. I'm sorry. I can't talk at the moment. I just joined, but I can't talk at the moment.
It's okay.
And no, there is no evidence that great circle roots are circles. I have not been given any evidence for that.
We'll talk to you later, Brian. It's okay. I think that's it. I think we've covered all the housekeeping questions.
There are videos.
Go on, Seth, go on.
There are videos that show the greats. Yeah, I'm trying. There are videos that I watch. It's funny that they show a great circle root from above down look. It's a straight line. They say it's a straight line when you're looking at it this way. And then they show it orthographically, and then they have to curve it on the piece of paper.
Okay, we're going to get into this. Is there anything anyone wants to add from Discord before I start this video up? Nope. Okie doke. So this is Flat Earth Debate with Dan Cummins. I assume it's just a hashtag shorts video. So it's going to be short.
Conspiracy theorists while listening to them on satellite radio that the Earth is flat. An almost unfathomable level of...
Okay, let's cover that first. So the gag is satellite radio, talking about flat Earth on quote-unquote satellite radio. Okay? So what? By title only, a bit like GPS, you think that's a proof that the Earth's a sphere? Because they say they've got satellites. Right. Does anyone else want to cover this before I get into it? Somebody might be itching. No? Okay. So, because
actually,
no, go ahead.
I don't think we should. It's meant to be comedy, though. This isn't some guy trying to make a point. This is comedy itself.
No, I realise. While we may give our own poetic license to joke about such things, here it's an outrage, and we will cover it in that way. No, I get it. It's comedy. And the reason it gets a laugh is because satellites, right? Based on the presupposition that Earth's a sphere with an R value and everything falling around the sphere, that's a satellite. Based on the assumption of orbital mechanics based on Kepler. So we've got orbits with satellites. So obviously that proves we've got satellites. Ha ha ha. Yeah, we
It's
get how
more than
people have been brainwashed, and the utilisation of their brainwashing is what gets the comedy reaction. I get that. Go on, Tent.
What makes it funny, though, is the fact that... Sorry, sir.
No, it's all right. Go on, Adam. I'll go after you.
Tent's got a bit of a delay, Adam. That's why it's... Go ahead, Adam.
Is the fact that you, the listener, and the comedian, the orator, you were both in possession of additional knowledge over the person that you're lampooning. Yeah? The reason it's funny is because you know that they're really stupid, because you're in possession of this additional knowledge, which means their statement is ridiculous. Whereas in the reality, when we turn it around, if we're going to analyse these sorts of jokes, even that position is ignorance on their behalf. Look at what they say. Satellite radio. Let's go into the detail, but the reason it's funny is because the listener knows more than these dumb flat earthers. So
gotcha.
The medium and the listener tease it.
Gotcha. So by contrast, to make it acceptable in a like-for-like comparison, black versus white, yin and yang and all that, if we were being served up this joke, that's flat earthers, us, at a flat earth conference, the flat earther steps on stage and says, oh, these globe believers, they're just idiots. They're broadcasting about the earth being a globe from an aeroplane. Similar thing, right?
Yes, but from an aeroplane. Yeah, whereas I was going to say, and they set up their satellite dish by angling the dish. So that has the flat earther in additional knowledge, which is why it's funny. Because
in additional, boom, boom.
Yeah, but it's over and above and it's correct. Whereas what's funny here is even the point of the ridiculous is based in their fallacy that they can't prove.
Irony. They call it a flat earth debate to make it sound more intellectual. All right, there's two sides to the flat earth debate. And if you're a flat earth...
Is he shouting us out? Is this about us?
Sounds like, how long's this?
It might be.
But right now you're thinking, exactly.
I'm thinking that's the title of my show. Are you talking about us, or are you talking about people in general titling their videos Flat Earth Debate when they talk about Flat Earth from one side or the other? Hopefully it's
Jesus Christ. I should have wore a tie.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he is.
Need to blaspheme. Jane, you don't need to use the Lord's name in vain, please.
Did I? 100 people watching.
Good morning. Good morning, guys.
Just a big shout out to all of you who did actually share the show. So massive, massive shout out to all the people who share the show. 102 people watching now. So that's the only reason we've got 102 people watching, because the people who are regulars mostly share the show regularly. But if you're coming and you're enjoying this for the first time, please share the show. If you typically don't, obviously this is a wonderful show. Hopefully Arwen will rejoin us. And yeah, let's crack on.
There's only two sides, you smug son of a bitch.
So only two sides as in we can only have a false dichotomy, flat versus globe? Nah, you see, we recently in 2021, might have been 2022, figured out that all of the model reifications of both sides come from a flat plane. So strictly speaking, it was never a false dichotomy because both options were flat. That's right, in case you were mishearing me. The globe option on the one side of the false dichotomy that he says there's only two options for is also a flat Earth model.
There's the round side and the flat side.
Wrong. There's plenty of other alternative choices to this false dichotomy you're presenting. What about concavers?
Isn't it the spherical side? I got a quarter in my pocket. That's round. Also flat. So.
This guy's geometrically illiterate. Unfortunately, Chocolate doesn't understand the words that he's using. For comedy purposes, doesn't have to be geometrically literate, it seems.
This is how insane this argument is. On the round side of this debate is every scientist alive.
That's not correct. See, science establishes cause and effect. In this arena, we're dealing with the nature of Earth. That's natural science. The cause and effect reasoning based on hypothesis, based on natural phenomena. Flat and round, neither are phenomena. Both are concrete nouns. So there is not a scientist in the land that could offer validity for either, because it's not a scientific inquiry, flat or round. Demonstrating admirably that you haven't got the slightest idea what science is, do you, Beardy Weirdy? No, you do not.
Not most. All of them.
None of them. Zero. Nada. Nil. Zilch. Absolutely no scientist can offer validity to a comparison in a juxtaposition you've offered incorrectly with a false dichotomy for two concrete nouns. Nothing's happening. Science establishes the cause of phenomena. So scientists deal with phenomena. That's something happening. Do you think flat Earth is something happening? So it's not within the remit of science. Idiot.
Every legitimate scientist, every astronomy and physics professor.
Astronomy? Astronomy? Well, looking at twinkly lights through telescopes, you think that's establishing cause and effect reasoning through systematic experimentation based on a hypothesis to figure out the cause of a phenomena you've studied? I mean, maybe the light's twinkling is a phenomena, but you think they're varying and manipulating presumed causes of those phenomena to establish them scientifically as either causing them or not causing them? That would be hypothesis validation, aka experimentation. I don't think any of the words I'm using are comprehending in this Beardy Weirdy's brain.
Every pilot who makes it to their destination consistently.
Pilot? So literally, earlier on we were talking about his gag making its way to the audience's mentality for the insider information they have in regards to presupposed orbital mechanics of satellites. Now he's talking about an airplane, one that debunks Earth rotation and Earth curvature. Where's my guffaws? Where's my applause and laughter? Yeah, you're about to talk about it with something that only operates on a flat plane. You can even get your spacemen from NASA and their documents declaring how people who fly have to utilise a flat plane. A flat Earth, my friend.
There are people being convinced.
That's it. That was it. Only a very short video. There is one other, which is Bill Nye. Do we want to cover this one as well?
Yes, let's get him.
BMF, Black Mafia.
Okay, we'll come to that after the 20-second ad. What do we all make of that then?
That last bit of that comment, Nathan, just the way you've appraised it, that's the kind of point I was trying to make. That the point of this is to sit there and laugh at us because we're dumb and we don't know anything. And that was how that little sketch is set up. But within his joke and ridicule of us, what he actually goes on to do is demonstrate his complete ignorance, lack of understanding, even down to the point of what science is and who can be a scientist. Yeah, rant over.
Any more? Anyone from Discord got any comments on that before we move on?
I would just say it's kind of funny because when it's put to them, when there's no audience, the Globers don't seem to laugh very much, right? It seems really cute and amusing at first, ha ha he he, and so you start asking questions like, "Where's your measured curvature?" and "How do you have gas pressure without a container?" All of a sudden, the faces get very serious, and it's like, "Well, I don't know." So I find it funny that he makes it like, "Oh, he's in the audience, he's a comedian," and I get it, but I just find the irony beautiful because in real life they're not laughing like that.
We're laughing, and they are talking about us.
No.
Go, 10th, go.
Oh, no, I was waiting for him to finish. Is he going to finish?
You still hear it?
I think he's finished.
Neil. Okay. Remember well, you never finished it, but Sabine, who said flat earthers may be wrong but not stupid yesterday. That video still needs to be reviewed, but she did put something in there. It's just that the globers are uncomfortable because they don't know how to defend the globe. Something to that effect, she said. Okay. Then you've got this side, which is to mock anything that has to do with flat earth research or flat earth debate. And this is what you find on the top searches. This is what anyone who sits down with chocolate would go home and say, hey, I wonder, yeah, chocolate asked some good questions. I'm going to go check it out. Flat earth. And then they see this stuff. And this is all on purpose to shame them, to look stupid, to be laughed at. And they don't want to talk to chocolate tomorrow because they saw this and the videos that are on the list today. These are all there to shame people. Like, I'm not going to be stupid. I don't know. I mean, I like chocolate, but that's ridiculous. I'm not even going to engage with them anymore. It's obvious what this thing is. This is not anything innocent. This is programming at its finest.
Going on around here.
We'll get to the bottom of it.
And we're glad to have you because we know you're a sound
you're
mind.
a conspiracy theorist. That's what you are.
Yeah.
Professional.
I dabble. He might.
Wow. So they're just accepting this tag, whoever these two guys are. So this is complex news. Big subscriber base. 2.5 million people. Wow. Bill Nye comes for BoB about flat earth belief.
May I comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So who Bill Nye agreed to come on, and these conspiracy people should have some nice questions and good arguments. Watch as you go through this. Nada. All programming. Nada.
Might be the professional.
You dabble.
Dabble, yeah.
Dabble, okay.
I like the theories, but I don't know if I can subscribe to
What appeals to you about the theories?
It's the emotion that some people get into the theories, you know.
Wow, this is definitely off to a bad start. So producers have given BoB the lowest possible hanging fruit then.
We'll talk about some of them in a bit, but you know, there's basketball players, there's rappers who are very invested in, you know, believing some of these things, and it doesn't feel like they really think about them.
How the hell does he know? Does he divine the thoughts of these basketball players? Has he got a little crystal ball?
And I like to think about a lot of this stuff.
You like to think about other people's feelings, about what other people think and feel. Why? What you Mystic Meg? What's going on?
But not get too invested, you know, passionately in it.
Not get too invested. You've divined the thoughts of another man.
If that makes sense.
It does. You enjoy it.
Doesn't make any sense to me.
The way people read their horoscope.
Exactly.
Horoscopes? Well, like the stars. Well, we're immediately into besmirching all of the actual validity given to the positioning data of the stars by talking about horoscopes. Oh, here we go. The guy's just divined another man's thoughts with his crystal ball he's not actually looking into, and now we're talking about horoscopes. So he's about ass about face to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the world's not flat. Okay.
Why are you declaring that when it's measured and navigated that way? And all of the maps and models that you have for your sphere were derived from a flat plane. I'm pretty sure it is flat.
The Earth is not flat. Not
You need to say it twice. What about backing that statement? You've made a positive assertion now. It's not flat. Well, what makes you say that? What demonstrates that positive assertion you're now making?
It's definitive.
And I know you have some flat Earth viewers.
Yes,
yeah,
should. Yeah.
So many flat Earth.
Yeah, and so I know what's appealing about conspiracy theories, Cal.
What's that?
Do you? All right, here we go.
It's a shortcut.
Yes.
If only there were 60 people.
Shortcut? What are you talking about? Been doing this for nigh on 8 years, researching it and finding new things out every day. Shortcut? I think not.
In a conspiracy, we just go find those 6 people and just stay. Shut up. Sit down. You stop it.
Is that how this works? Find people that disagree with your presuppositional values, your heliocentric religion, and the way to deal with them is to just tell them to shut up. No, you see, I'm not just telling you, the globe-believing fundamentalist religious zealot, to just shut up. I debunk your assertions of heliocentrism, sky vacuums, and earth curvature. That's what I do. I just tell you, shut up. Oh, shut up with your globe belief. Boring everyone.
And then everything would be fine.
Yeah.
But
if everyone just shut up that wasn't agreeing with you, everything would be fine, would it, Bowtie?
ain't how it is.
At all.
There's 7.4 billion people all
Is there? How do you know there's 7.4 billion people?
trying to do things.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
wow, how profound. So that statement wasn't really there to do anything other than have the editor show a spinning ball to remind you of your presupposition while he throws out some random factoids that he's been given.
No.
And I mean,
what?
No. That's hang on. Pause. No. That was well thought out. Actually, if you can round up the 60 people who are all the flat earthers in the world and tell them to shut up, because there's 7.4 billion people trying to do things, so there's only 60 people in the whole world that believe flat Earth compared to 7.4 billion. This is what he's trying to do.
We've reached the current peak of flat Earth debate. Don't get me wrong, this show's had 300 plus viewers at its peak previously, till we were absolutely cobbled. 125 people watching. And we're only half an hour into the show. Well, a little bit over half an hour into the show. Fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing. It looks like we are going to be doing this for a while, so we'll go all the way through this video, even if it takes a little bit longer than the normal live show. But we might actually get there anyway. We'll see.
It's a great segue because some of those people are, Kyrie Irving,
influential
BoB,
thoughtful people who think. They think about basketball defense, complicated business.
Yeah.
They think about their statistics constantly. They're constantly.
So he's appealing to there not being any scientific validity, presumably, or any professional reason for them to be declaring the Earth's flat. Yeah. Okay. So.
Evaluating their shooting percentage, right? Their field goal percentage. They get to the court early and they dribble the ball to see which parts of the court are kind of dead compared to.
Yeah, we know what basketball players do, Bill.
The lively parts, right? From somebody who spilled a soft drink 5 years ago and it didn't get wiped up fast. Yes, they think about that.
Yeah.
Yet they're somehow able to look at pictures of the Earth from.
You see what he's doing here? He's cornering him that this is a professional basketball player, and then he, the non-professional basketball player, Bill Nye, that is, starts explaining what a professional basketball player does. So he has enough knowledge that Kyrie Irving gets there early, dribbles, and then he looks for the dead spots because someone may have spilled the soda and didn't clean up for a few hours. So, okay, I better not dribble over this. Bill Nye, the so-called science guy, knows what basketball players do, but what he's doing is he's saying that guy knows basketball, but he watches a YouTube video and all of a sudden he's an expert on flat Earth. You see, I mean, it's so obvious what the stupid strategy here is.
Space.
Bill, I know what basketball players do, and why is he commenting? Why is he commenting on basketball players just limiting their cognitive powers to basketball only?
What he's appealed to is that they haven't been to space. So just as you interrupted, he says these people might be able to dribble a basketball and calculate the spills on the court, but they haven't been to space. That's his shtick.
To accept weather forecasting from satellites. They're able.
See, in the same way the comedian is going to satellites, this guy's putting them in a CGI world of orbital mechanics by way of the editor's choice of various CGI imagery of Earth from space. He's saying you haven't been here. Kyrie Irving hasn't been to space. He's a basketball player. So, in essence, you should trust the people who go to space. A second law of thermodynamics sky vacuum violation. So this gas in this CGI image, right, that we're all breathing at ground level, right, clouds and stuff, yeah, that is directly next to a 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum, space, outer space for these orbits, drawn with CGI on a CGI image of a globe that you've never seen. So because we've never seen their claim to be proven positive of a sphere Earth, we're not allowed to have a comment on it, because there's plenty of bullshitters who claim to go to Narnia, traversing the high pressure gas, entering an area that the gas isn't expanding into in violation of gas behaviour, to photo these CGI images. They're not photos. Why not just bombard us with images of real footage from space. I know we've got to have the CGI where you haven't been. Well, why? That's because there isn't a place to go to get video footage of Earth from space. You've got composites from NASA with them showing them filming guys in pools with images of a rendered Earth behind them that sometimes goes wonky, sometimes doesn't rotate, has all sorts of crazy CGI images going wrong. That's all it is. There is no space to go to get pictures from, to appeal to, when you haven't proven your sphere Earth position that everyone begs the question of.
Able to listen to CNN from the other side of the world, bounced off spacecraft, and yet...
Bounced off spacecraft? No. Space is fake. If the sky was a vacuum, the gas we breathe would fill the space.
Conclude that since they can't see Florida from Manhattan...
Because it's too small. You have no concept of perspective.
The world must be flat or something.
Right, what? Because we can't see something from a given distance when it's too small to see, you feel that's a justification for it not being flat. Your only assertion in Earth curve mathematics for not seeing something in the distance is that Earth curve got in the way, with its physical geometric limitation. Oh, unless, of course, that physical geometric Earth curve limitation that's stopping you seeing distant cities is refracted, in which case it completely violates any geometric assertion, because you haven't got tangent anymore. We've debunked every aspect of your begging the question fallacy, Bill.
Freaking thing.
Well, it's
just weird.
It's a weird theory.
It's the 21st century here, people.
It's a weird theory.
It's the 21st century. Okay, Bill.
Navigated around the world using the stars with...
Oh, really? How fascinating. You think using the stars behind a globe Earth in a vacuum was how they did the navigation, do you, Bill? Incorrect. What they did was use the equatorial plane, which, if drawn in a diagram, would be a flat Earth at the centre of the sphere, with you standing in the middle of it, with an angle only capable of measuring off a flat Earth, projected through the sphere that's ultimately redundant when navigating with the stars, out to a flat baseline, with an infinite distance not using your spherical surface, but using an equatorial flat plane surface, centred, to give you angles to the stars beyond the redundant sphere. So navigators used a flat Earth, Bill. Maybe you should look into navigation and not rely on the editing abilities of somebody putting this video together to highlight your presupposition that somehow you can acquire an elevation angle measurement off a curved surface. Oh, even artificial intelligence knows that's not the case. Dumbo.
Full knowledge that the Earth was a ball.
No. Full knowledge that you can only acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline? No, that's not a possibility, my friend. You have to have a flat plane to navigate. How can you get measurements of angles from flat baselines to stars if it's curved? Answer, you cannot. Furthermore, navigation of a sphere with the current methodology is impossible. Because at some stage you're going to be at the centre of your sphere Earth, if you're assuming that you're in any way dealing with a spherical surface, which you could not get an angle from. So no, they didn't need a sphere. It makes it incredibly difficult, in fact impossible, to be standing at the centre of a sphere Earth to do navigation, which is how it's diagrammatically drawn out. If you think you're on a sphere, you're not. You can, on the other hand, ignore all the sphere nonsense, measure an angle to a star, and then calculate your position on a flat map using a flat baseline. Coincidentally, the way your latitude lines were derived in the first place, by angle measurements to Polaris, to give you these lines, drawn as circles, based on areas of equal elevation. That's flat planes underneath Polaris at its centre. So no, all of this requires a flat plane. None of it is benefited in any way, in fact hindered by a sphere Earth.
7 or 8 centuries ago. This is not a new idea, people.
Yeah, it's always used flat planes and angles to stars.
At all.
If only there were 60 people who could just give the whistling backhand. Hey, you want a fresh one?
Oh, really? So based on the fact that you've just declared incorrectly that a globe Earth is somehow being used for centuries, I could backhand you and show you that they're measuring flat Earth elevation angle measurements to these stars. That's a justification to beat your old ass, is it, Bill?
And then they shut up.
That's all right. Is it I beat Bill around the head with a sextant?
And we could move.
You stupid old man. You think you use elevation angle measurements off curved surfaces? Badoosh!
Fun.
The backhand is science.
Yeah, backhand with a sextant.
With the flat earth.
I love it. No, I love it. But I mean, it's one of those things where we want to...
Seriously, does Bill Nye think it's justified to beat people if they don't understand the concept of measuring flat earth elevation angles? Is that justification to beat Bill Nye? If you meet Bill on the street and you happen to have a sextant in your hand, and you go, you declared that it's okay to backhand people if they don't understand that navigation's done on a curved surface, a sphere Earth. Let me show you this diagrammatical example of how navigation's done using the equatorial plane with you standing in the middle of a sphere, measuring angles off an equatorial plane. Now, get on your knees, Bill, so I can beat you with the back of my hand.
I don't want to say play devil's advocate, but working off the assumption...
You want to see their point of view.
Yeah, working off...
sympathetic to... Can I say dumbass?
Sorry, are you calling navigators dumb, Bill? I mean, people in the Navy don't tend to strike me as like people that take kindly to being called dumbass by an ugly old git who feels it's necessary to backhand people who understand that elevation angle measurements are taken from a flat surface. The baseline for Earth is flat. They must understand that principle when they take an angle from it. Yeah? So they're dumb, are they, Bill? These people who appreciate how Earth is navigated flat.
Please, please,
Yeah.
I would appreciate it.
My career just ended.
No, you're good. So let's say the Earth is flat, okay?
No, it isn't.
Sorry, was the steam coming out your ears the same as the steam that came out of the engines on ships that were navigating it flat? With sextants taking angles from a flat baseline? And then plotting their courses on maps that didn't have curves taken into account on them? Because I assure you, they're navigating flat, Bill. And just assuming, for the sake of argument, without examples of why, like I've given, that it is flat, you won't accept it. You just, steam comes out your ears, no, we'll not compute. Backhand all detractors of my religion. Literally inflict pain on them is what Bill Nye suggests you should do, if you don't accept his religious belief. What an outrage.
But
Let's say I have superpowers and I can fly.
Some would say that.
Yeah.
Some would say that.
Well, try it. Go to the top of a building and see what happens.
Just
we'll
jump.
take a meeting.
And what would the
So let me get it straight. Bill Nye's now encouraging, as a mainstream pretender clown purveyor of science, that you should jump off buildings if you don't believe with this religion. Why is it that we suffer any form of censorship as flat earthers when globe earth religiotards literally suggest that if you disagree with them, you should jump off a building, and then show you a man falling off a building in case you didn't understand what they were telling you to do? How is this acceptable in a modern society? Yet meanwhile, while this clown, Bill Nye, is telling you to jump off a building to prove that what, we're on a sphere, because of his begging the question gravity assertion, that's somehow a phenomena when you fall to your death, meanwhile, you can pass a helium balloon that a child let go on your way down, can't you? So when the person you've suggested jumps to their death watches a helium balloon pass them by on its way up, would you say that that somehow defeats your nonsensical assertion that everything goes down? Proving what? The gas go down, go boom, boom, clown show? What an outrage! I think the only person needing to jump off a building here is you.
Gravity on a flat Earth be like?
You tell me, man.
Well, you tell me, what about helium balloons being released and going up in the air? Is that gravity on a flat Earth? Is that anti-gravity on a sphere?
And completely inconsistent with all the physics we know.
What? Helium balloons are inconsistent with the physics we know, are they, Clown Show? Gas expanding to fill volumes? That's inconsistent with the physics you know. Yes, because you don't know any physics. Otherwise you'd know gas expands to fill space. Yeah, the space it's debunking, outer space, that's what gas does. Somehow you don't know this, yeah, because it violates every principle of your heliocentric faith. Go on, whoever it was from Discord. Was it G+?
No, it was me. Oh, it was me. But man, you're on a good rant. So, but what I was going to say is, just like the first two, they mock flat earthers and they just use titles like science or gravity or physics, but they never prove it because they can't. So this is their strategy, is to put these videos up so that anyone who's ever interested in flat Earth runs into this video, which is choreographed with laughter, and two guys that are supposed to check out conspiracies that are in business with Bill Nye basically at this point, because they're not checking out conspiracies for the sake of were we lied to. They're checking out why do people believe in them and what kind of psychological person believe in conspiracies. They're not real conspiracy channel, this one. These two, because you can see how it goes. They're in the same bed.
I have
GMM over R squared, people. This goes way back. You don't get an R squared unless you got a sphere.
So you don't get an R squared unless you assume you've got an R. So where'd you get R, Bill Nye? Rattling off some seemingly complicated maths to describe what force is derived of in your... No, it wasn't Newtonian. Was it Newtonian gravitation that you just threw up? Had it on screen for a fraction of a second, of course. Meanwhile, your R squared requires a sphere Earth R value that we've debunked. If Earth was a sphere with a radius value of 3959 miles, then every distance to the horizon could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, as per your sphere Earth mathematics that excludes perspective. And the distance to the horizon in the Black Swan is beyond the physical geometric limitations of a sphere Earth radius 3959, the R in your equation. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere radius 3959. You don't have a measurement or a tangent point, especially when the comeback from our opponents is the line to the horizon's refracted. So you don't have a tangent, you don't have an R value, you don't have any gravity, you don't have a natural phenomena. All you can do is spew some maths at these two people. Hopefully quick enough for them to not challenge it like I just have.
The Earth is not flat, people. What is wrong with you?
What, based on that mathematical equation you just rattled off? I debunked the R value in it. The Earth's not a sphere. We can debunk the assertion. We can debunk the mathematics. We can debunk the principles behind the mathematics. We can debunk the orbital motion and tell you about the history of where it was presupposed and who it was presupposed by and why it was presupposed. All of your sphere Earth religion has come from the Roman Catholic Church. You are just another version of a priest. That's all this guy is. A very low-level, ignorant one.
Do you have, arguments with people? Do people come up to you talking flat Earth?
They do, and steam just comes out of his ears, and he tells them Earth's not flat and gives them a backhander. Don't you, Bill?
Not to me, because they know it's whistling backhand time.
Yeah, my God. So I was right. Whistling steam out the ears and give him a backhand. So if you happen to come across Bill Nye, and you happen to have watched this show, his standards are, when you point out that Earth is not navigated on a spherical surface, and any derivation of the flat Earth elevation angle measurement you took, if claimed to be using a sphere, will be done from the equatorial plane with you standing in the molten iron core. Not that you can, because it can't be done off a curved surface. It's angle-based. Well, according to Bill, when you point that out to him, and steam's coming out of his ears, you've got a good right to backhand the guy by his own standards. So if you come across a few beatings from these people you say should just shut up, you'll understand why, won't you, Bill? Because your standards are you can backhand them. Just for clarity, I don't suggest people jump off buildings to prove that helium balloons don't go up in the air and everything goes down, go boom, boom, because gas behaves that way when it doesn't. I don't suggest you do that. I don't suggest you give Bill Nye backhanders because of his abject stupidity. Yeah? His Dunning-Kruger ignorance has led him to say that you should be getting a backhander, though. Just bear that in mind.
Makes sense.
It's on site if you come up to
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I mean,
Yeah, you tell this guy how he should be giving you a backhander if you believe this. Yeah? Maybe give him permission to smack you. Right, guys? You pathetic cucks.
you guys, the
They ain't doing none of that.
What was that all about? Did he say something embarrassing that it needed some whistle to go over the top of it when the edit came?
dismissal of so much of human knowledge is crystallized this idea that the Earth might be flat. It is just saying everybody who came before me is a dumbass.
Well, everybody who navigated using flat Earth elevation angle measurements because they couldn't do it any other way is a dumbass. Is that what you're saying, Bill?
And that's wrong.
No,
People, you can...
No, what he's saying... No. What he's saying is that guy Chocolate saying who talked to you yesterday, he is the dumbass. And everyone that see, they just point the way. There's no defense for the globe Earth, so they have to resort to this.
The beauty, the passion, beauty, and joy, the PB&J of science, is that you can do it for yourself. It's not man, woman. It's not recently from Africa, recently from Europe. It's true for everyone. The Earth goes around the sun. The Earth's a ball.
That's not science. Saying everybody can do it, Earth goes round the sun. Those are complete non sequitur. So you're not detailing what science is. You're doing your audience a disservice. Because you're telling them science is a wonderful thing. It's not about a man or a woman. It's about anybody being able to do it. Next statement, Earth goes round the sun. No, that's a belief. That's a religious faith. It's called the heliocentric religious faith. Sun at center, heliocentrus. So heliocentric? That's what you're saying. Earth goes round the sun, sun at center. No, that's a model of the world. That's not science. Now, just because Bill Nye has sold you short, you the audience, I'll tell you what science actually is. Science is the establishment of cause and effect based on the observation of a naturally occurring phenomena that you want to know the cause of, and your supposition of the cause. You'll then formulate that supposition of cause for the phenomena you're studying in nature into something known as a hypothesis. And a hypothesis has got two sides to it, an alternative and a null. The alternative is the positive assertion that what you assume causes the effect you're studying will cause the effect. That's if A, your supposition of cause, then B, the effect you're studying in nature. That's an alternative hypothesis. The contrapositive is a null hypothesis. If A, the supposition of cause, you will vary in your experiment, then not B, null outcome, did not cause the effect. Now, both stand alongside each other in what's known as a hypothesis, also known as a scientific prediction. Now, a scientific prediction has no description that you can take from it until you validate it. No explanation can be derived because you've got two outcomes. If A, then B, and if A, not B. And they are not mutually inclusive. Only one can be true. It violates the law of non-contradiction for both A to cause B and not cause B. So only one is true. And when you vary A and see if it causes B, either the alternative or the null will be proven. So you prove that A does not cause B. Supposition validated. A didn't cause B, tick. Proven. Or, hopefully, because this is what you're testing, A does cause B. So supposition proven also. A caused B. Tick. Now you ipso facto invalidate the other half of the hypothesis when you perform an experiment. If A caused B, tick, then it didn't not cause B. Cross. Only one is valid. Ergo, the method offers empiricism. You empirically validated that A caused B, or you empirically validated A did not cause B. So it's an empirical method of validation for a cause you are studying in nature. That is natural science, not a use of the word telling you anybody can do it and then imposing your religious pseudoscience belief of sun being at center, heliocentric. That's not science. That's a declaration of religious faith.
ball. It ain't about, and if you believe the flat Earth, go to the freaking edge, take a picture.
Sorry, what edge? So you've got a stereotyping fallacy and a straw man. The edge that you have decided that we have, what edge? I didn't claim any edge. But you're going to demand that because I've claimed Earth is flat because it's navigated that way as you got incorrect, and according to your own standard should be backhanded for, I should go to an edge to prove it to you. That's your standard you impose on me. No. If I don't make any claim at all, there's only one positive assertion being made, and that's Earth spherical. And all the positive claims of sphericity have been debunked. Furthermore, ipso facto, it is my positive claim to assert that it's navigated flat. It can't not be because you require elevation angles to do so. And any transposition, as detailed earlier, to a sphere will involve you standing in the middle of a molten iron core in order for any angles taken from the equatorial plane to make any sense with the dome of the heavens that you are measuring. Not taking angles from curved surfaces, because that cannot be done.
Well, it's interesting.
Post it on the gram.
Well, one of the people, BoB, that's on the gram.
Pull back.
Well, no, BoB's on the gram talking a lot of this stuff, and he's actually at the point.
He's just trying to sell albums.
That's the second time you've interrupted him. All he's done is said, BoB has. That's how much of information that you get from this fundamentalist religious zealot before he interrupts. So just mention the name of somebody who's a flat earther and you won't get to finish your sentence twice.
He's got a GoFundMe. He's trying to buy a satellite to take his own pictures to prove.
So before you do that, why not consider joining the Planetary Society? We will have a satellite. Join.
So again, we're back to CGI images of Earth in a sky vacuum. So this is 10 to the minus 17 torr sky vacuum, right, lads? Now, while it's not science to detail gas behaviour, that's just describing the phenomena. It's not validation of cause, just how gas behaves. I'm not going to be so bold and arrogant like you, the clown, to declare that this is science, to make what I say sound more valid. It's just a fact. Gas expands in all directions. That includes up. When it's created at ground level, yeah, completely invalidating your assertion that proving gravity is jumping off a building when you're displacing gas that's created at ground level and making its way up. Well, that gas is making its way up because it's expanding, dispersion. It's an entropic effect. And that entropic effect would be the effect of the gas at high pressure expanding into a 10 to the minus 17 torr vacuum. Now, even your average layman understands what happens when you put high pressure gas next to a vacuum. And according to this CGI rendering of a sphere Earth in a sky vacuum, gas isn't following entropic law. It's not expanding into the vacuum. Why? Oh, because according to Bill Nye, men jump off buildings. That doesn't stop gas expansion, though, does it? The gas that you fell through to your death at Bill Nye's behest did not go down. It came from the ground and made its way up, expanding into the volume it had available. That would include, if it was true, a sky vacuum, massive expanse of volume. Yet the sky's not a volume for gas to fill, lads, because it'd have filled it already. We'd all be dead.
In the Planetary Society, we will have cameras that will take a picture of the Earth, and you can just...
Really? So discourage somebody from doing it themselves and tell them to go to the church and get the church's pictures, right, Bill? So according to the guy's last statement, his mate, BoB, wants to send a satellite up to look at Earth being spherical. Now, given that he's even posing this in a way that would affirm your religious belief, and you should have absolutely no issue with him doing this, if it is the case, but you want to discourage him and tell him, no, just go to the church. They've already got the pictures of Narnia. You can see Narnia for yourself at the church.
Decide for yourself. It's not a conspiracy. Come to Cape Canaveral and see the rocket launch.
What? Watch it go off into the distance towards the horizon? Or see it traverse the gas pressure we're all breathing, past the Kármán line where gas decides to violate natural law and just chill out there and maybe go back down again if it feels so inclined? That rocket, the one that's going into Narnia, an area of volume that gas pressure isn't filling. Those rockets that take pictures from Narnia, right? No, we can debunk them based on natural law. Gas would fill the space also. You wouldn't pass the gas in your rocket and wave goodbye to it. It too could fill that volume and would instantly. We'd all be dead if rockets went to space, because so could gas.
I'm here for you, man. BoB, come to Cape. I challenge you.
BoB, you hear
He wants to do it for himself. Well, he must do it under the church's supervision, right, Bill? Like you haven't.
Avril, and watch a rocket launch.
And what will that prove? That we send up fireworks? So if I send off a bottle rocket, equivalent to NASA's much more grandiose version, that proves that there's a sky vacuum, watching a rocket take off. How does that prove that gas isn't filling an area of enormous volume that apparently the rocket's going to? So we watch the rocket go towards the horizon and disappear from view, and after it disappears from view, it traverses the high-pressure gas we're all breathing and enters the area of massive space that the gas isn't filling. No, that definitely isn't the case. It's a violation of natural law. It's a second law of thermodynamics violation to assert that rockets go into a sky vacuum to take pictures of Earth as a sphere. And the church has done this already, so you don't need to trouble yourself with any GoFundMes to show for yourself that it's spherical. We can give that to you. We've already been to Narnia.
There you go.
And so, BoB,
I love the fact that. I was just going to say, I love the fact that he says all flippantly and easy, well, just go take a picture. Even in his narrative, how many actual pictures are there supposed to be of this globe Earth we've been living on for so long? Like actual pictures, not composites, not images, not artist renditions, not, oh, it's Photoshop because it has to be. Photographs, click, picture. How many of those do we supposedly have?
Well, let's just go. Well, we can't speak for the entirety, but we can go by the presentation we've had so far in this video. 0. None in this presentation. Not one.
All right, that checks out.
Come to Cape Canaveral for the launch of Light Sail 2, and we can take a meeting about your flat Earth.
Is Kyrie invited too?
If he wants, yeah.
Sure. So we'll go to the rocket, and have a meeting. So we're not even going to your launch pad with the church to be taking pictures from space. We can have a meeting. The rocket will piss off into the distance, meet the horizon, and then we'll clap and say it's gone into a sky vacuum. The gas at the horizon where it disappeared, that's still there. At high pressure, not expanding into the vacuum. But the rocket, yeah, that's gone to the sky vacuum to take pictures while we're having our meeting about flat Earth.
They can carpool.
Planetary Society, planetary.org.
Where we beg the question for you.
We're not the Flat Place Society.
We're not the Flat Place Society. Meanwhile, navigation's done flat. And backhanders for you, right? For not realising that. Yeah, this is just a church. Go to the church. Yeah? We're not the Christians. We're the place of Scientology. Yeah, just get the information from the church. If you disbelieve us, go to the church.
Society, we're the Planetary Society.
We're the Church of Planets. Yeah? Not the Flat Earth Society. Not Scientology. The Planetary Society. Just remember the name of our church, okay?
Great stuff. Well, hey, don't want to take up any more of your time.
No, what you mean is you've had enough. But thank you, guys.
Well, you've got some people to hunt down about flat Earth and give them.
No, I don't. No.
We got.
All right, this is just you objecting to anybody that's now disagreeing with you. Yeah, I'd have had enough of you. You know, you generally seem quite violent. You know, saying that you should backhand people and tell them to shut up.
I'm tied up in the back, though.
No,
I thought that's why you were here.
No.
Oh, was that somebody from our side? No.
It's their problem. We just don't want them to become science educators. Or
Scientificators? We don't want them to become scientificators. Is that a word?
I don't think so.
No, he said science educators.
Science
He said
educators.
science educators.
Right. Because I'm a flat earther, am I not allowed, according to Bill Nye, to disseminate how cause and effect reasoning is based on a hypothesis, as I did earlier? I'm not allowed to educate people on science. How dare you?
That, is it?
How dare you?
The title science educator, I think, in the Church of Heliocentrism is equivalent to a junior priest, isn't it? Or is it as the final title that Bill Nye's got and Neil deGrasse? They hold the title science educators, which is to educate in the way of heliocentrism and ignore science, to me. But that seems to be a title they're proud of normally.
But what's the higher title? Communicator or educator?
That's it. Yeah, it's communicator, innit, that they use. Well done, Chop.
Right. So
maybe
Mick West
educator is a junior
Mick West
priest.
is a communicator. Bill Nye is an educator in science terms. I mean, none of them have anything to do with science whatsoever. And Scientology has definitely got a connection that we can start highlighting to this, because it is just the church of science. And this is a branch of the Church of Science, because that's what he's doing, isn't he? He's using the word...
Pseudoscience.
Pseudoscience is actually what they're doing, but they call it science.
Even better, we want those guys to have a revelation and say, wow, I was wrong.
So...
What?
Why? I go on all day long about, oh, I don't care. If you want to believe Earth's a sphere, that's your bag. If you want to believe it's flat, that's your bag. Whatever. You know, live and let live sort of thing. I mean, if you value what we have to talk about in regards to flat Earth, then fine, that's great, we'll tell you. But Bill Nye, you've got a very different attitude. You think that people should be keeping stum if they don't agree with you, basically, don't you, Bill? Who was that from G+? Was it Chocolate?
It was me again, listening to the language. Doesn't want people to look into science and prove things. Wants them to have a revelation. I mean, I constantly say they use like evangelical language. That's another one. What are you going to have a revelation to the truth? What kind of epiphany is required for you to realize we're on a ball? What he's saying there, but he's not going to use science and evidence. He's asking the wayward soul to have a revelation. That's...
Oh, no, they'll have a meeting. They'll give him some counselling while he watches a rocket go off out the window.
Well, hopefully when he's watching that rocket, he doesn't have any kids around that'll blow it up and be like, that rocket looks like it's going down. It looks bad.
Content.
His positioning is, I want them to admit that they're wrong. Okay, I don't mind if I'm wrong. I'll admit it. I want you to admit when you're wrong. Oh, no. I'm the arbitrator of this. I'll never admit I'm wrong. That's their position.
Yeah, I've got the title of science educator. So therefore, what I say goes, and what I don't say or you disagree with deserves a backhander.
I went down this road. I had a hypothesis about the Earth's flatness.
Sorry, a hypothesis is the establishment of a cause and effect relationship. So to be doing a hypothesis, you have to have a phenomena. So a flat Earth hypothesis is an oxymoron. Flat Earth is a concrete noun. I could throttle him. He's so stupid.
There you go. And that's what I said at the start. They'll try and ridicule us, but in doing so, will demonstrate their ignorance. And there you go. He's got a hypothesis about the shape of the Earth. Yeah. Mate, you're dumb. You don't even know what you're preaching. But you stand there and you ridicule us, and to validate your position is just to call us dumb. And then you present that. You're a disgrace, you science educator.
But I went to Cape Canaveral for the launch of Light Sail 2 from the planet.
So his hypothesis is about a concrete noun, and in order to validate or invalidate his hypothesis, he didn't vary A to see if it caused B, B being Earth's flat, a concrete noun, something you can't vary, even if you wiggle something. Ugh. What he did do is go off to the meeting room and watch a rocket take off. What, into the sky vacuum beyond the gas pressure not expanding into it? Clown shoes, that's nothing non sequitur to your non-experiment. How dumb are you?
Planetary Society, and
and I went to the church.
I realized the Earth was round.
So I formulated a hypothesis with a concrete noun, went and watched a rocket, non sequitur to the hypothesis that had a concrete noun, then I went to the church, then I knew it was a globe.
Wow, I'm so
you fundy zealot.
much happier.
And happiness came? What?
Now, my perception of reality is so much more consistent with my observations.
Sorry, observations of what? The stars? That's what's twinkling in front of him. Elevation angle measurements to those stars. Well, what will be used in navigation, Mr. Backhander?
I'm empowered. I could...
Yeah, I am going to take your sentiment and just convey it to my audience for my cause. I am empowered. Not in a, I'm going to backhand you if you disagree kind of way, but in a, I know it's flat kind of way. Because it's measured and navigated that way kind of way. As in, the stars in front of this clown's shoe's face are going to be used on a flat earth kind of way. A justifiable confidence way. Not a, I'm going to backhand you, you better damn well listen, you're a dumbass if you don't get it, and if I go to the church and watch a rocket, I know it's a globe. Kind of way.
Dare I say it? Save the world!
And that's what we're trying to do.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you. Thanks, Cal.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Bill, thank you for coming through.
That's great. Carry on.
Yeah, thanks for nothing. Dumbo. Right, any last comments on this?
That was
Go to
cringy.
Master D. No, it's worse than that. Go to Master D, Planetary Society. He's the CEO of it. They're garnering fundraisers, kind of akin to someone aligning with NASA, but being separate of NASA. But of course, they're not going to go against NASA. So he's the CEO, and I picked up one part there where they're against racism. There's many things there on that site, but if you look at this comment on racism, it only distinguishes one group of people, the black people, as if there isn't racism in other countries towards other types of people. Many of us are having a hard time looking up right now. It's a painful moment. We here at the Planetary Society recognize we must do more to support black people, including black people who love space. I'm against all racism. Black, white, yellow, it don't matter. Okay, but watch this. But watch this. He wants to backhand people.
There's
black. I mean, how can you be against racism and want to backhand flat earthers?
As a black transgender Jewish lesbian, I find this whole conversation highly problematic. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Fortunately, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a member, and all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G+ pals for making today's live show possible. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either after show. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!
Did you hear that?
Yes, they did reverse engineer. Now, let's park it.
That's good.
What a clown show this guy is. No, that was great.
It's
You
a
did great,
comment.
Nathan. That was great. What a clown show.
It's common. That's what everybody says. That's what I said when I was first heard about it. He used everything he used. Space, GPS, satellites, everything.
They go unchallenged.
Well, I thought it was. Yeah, that's right, Gene. They go unchallenged. especially the two guys there, did not raise one objection, not even one.
Why doesn't anybody come here?
I would
know
say
they know about us. How come nobody
Listen.
comes here?
People do come here.
You think Bill Nye would come here?
No. I mean, like guys like that.
You think Bill Nye would come here?
It
No,
serves him no
they're
benefit.
running
We are
from this place.
censored.
Neil, do you think Bill Nye would come here?
No, they're running from this place. They're hiding from here.
Why do you think he went there?
Bill Nye.
He went there to push his planetary society, raise money.
ILSG. Go ahead, ILSG.
I'd love to see Bill Nye try to slap the flat Earth out of like Eddie Bravo or something like that.
Eddie Bravo's like Kung Fu Man, though, isn't he?
He's a jujitsu master.
That's what I mean. I didn't know the word.
Yeah.
That's the point.
My point being that, I don't know, I or anybody else wouldn't be best served trying to give a hard time to someone like Eddie Bravo, right? Not a good example, in other words.
No, he's your biggest fan.
I don't think so. I think he likes the show. Gave us a shout out once.
Hold on a second. Liking the show is one thing. So I have to reiterate what he said because I got to mind my tongue and I can't.
Mind your tongue. We have that. Here's the deal. This is what people see. And you're breaking it down and embarrassing them because they got nothing. All they got is the words science, spaceship, everybody before us, 7.4 billion people, all the scientists in the other video you did today. Could they all be wrong? It's like, okay, that's great. That's great. Can you show me the proof? Can I see the R value? Can I see curvature? Oh, no. 7.4 billion people can go do science. How are they going to do science? What's the natural observed phenomena? You totally tore them apart today, which was great. This is why we need to do all the top 2 pages of Google and YouTube, because this is what people see. And then when we run into people, we just say, well, did you hear the rebuttal to that? And that's why you got to categorize these in their own sections, stand alone, because then we can just send them to these people.
Yeah, I agree.
This is
Good
your
show today.
classroom, Nathan. You're the professor here.
Yeah, fair enough.
Do you got any other videos?
Seriously.
We will do more tomorrow,
This is
I'm sure.
where. Well,
I have
not
a question,
for today.
Professor Oakley.
I had a question. Remember, guys? I had a question.
Best thing to do with a question is ask it.
Okay. Here we go. Is there more water than land on Earth? That's my brother, the Globey, asked.
No
According
idea.
to what they tell us.
On the surface, maybe, but like
Whoa, wait a second.
there's land
I was
under the
told
water.
there's 70% water.
Yeah, but then there's land under the water, right? So
That's why I'd go with no
What if
idea.
there's water under the land? That's under the water.
Yeah, and there's water that's under the water that's under the land.
There's water that's
They recently
over the
found
land
water.
that's stuck to the underneath side of the water that's stuck to the land.
So is it safe to say, just like space, we have no idea?
I'd go with that now.
I'd agree with that.
And what would be the result of knowing?
I think they're just coming from the surface area. Like that they throw out these numbers. Oh, the Earth is 75% water, and then the rest is land mass or some shit. I don't know.
So that's on a globe, isn't it? But we don't know the land masses to approximate any proportionality to it, do we?
That's right.
Yeah.
Those are globe numbers.
It'd be interesting to hear somebody approximate like a guess, I guess, for the depth of from the shoreline of Antarctica, and then add up the land versus the water. That might be interesting.
The
It'd be
Antarctica place
interesting
where
if they let
nobody can
someone
go to.
down there and yeah, it'd be interesting. We can go and see what Admiral Byrd supposedly saw, because he did say on the live show there's more land.
It'd be very interesting, but just with like a circumference of that circle, if it was a circle of Antarctica, how deep would it have to be? You know, what would the depth have to be from the shoreline outward with that circumference to have an equal amount of land surface and water surface? Yeah.
Wait a second.
Yeah,
Admiral
you know
Byrd, how
what
can we...
I think
The
is
only
interesting?
knowledge we hang on.
Look, I just think that it's interesting when people have this idea, this mindset where they want something that's not feasible. When you say you just like to know a percentage or like like maybe a guesstimate, we all would, trust me, we all want to know that. However, you can't even guess how many gumballs are in a box at the mall for whatever, cash prize they have for guessing that number, unless you've at least seen all of it, right?
No,
How are we
Nathan
gonna
has a
guess
trick
something
for that.
we don't have any reference to?
I don't know. I think Nathan has a trick for guessing the gumballs.
Yeah, I
I
do.
remember him saying it one time.
You just take an average, basically.
If you guys give me a little time, to chew on it for a while, I'll get back with Nancy.
Chew on it. All right.
Actually, the iPhone now has this thing where it counts. I think it's called the iScan app. It has a thing where it counts all the units for you, whether it be gumballs or sticks of plywood, or sticks of studs of wood. At a construction site, it can count everything for you. And they've done this in their ad is a commercial of it counting gumballs.
But let's keep in mind, my entire point is you can't guesstimate based on nothing at all.
Right, what you're saying is,
I understand.
If you've got no gumballs to look at, and they say, guess how many gumballs?
4.
Yeah, the human averaging phenomena is based on you having the information and taking a guess based on it in front of you. You can't just like randomly sample people where there's nothing for them to observe to guess how much or many of it there is. It is a strange phenomenon, that, but it does ultimately require the thing to be there to visualize. Yeah.
It wouldn't be accurate. It would just be like a guess based on an assumption of where the shoreline is at that point. Yeah.
But it wouldn't be grounded in anything, would it? It's not like the gumball thing, which is grounded in your visual looking at it and an estimated guess, and the average of all humans comes out pretty accurate. If you're not looking at anything, it's like how many gumballs in the jar? You've got no idea how big the jar is, even, have you? So you're not going to get an accurate guess based on that weird psychic phenomena that occurs.
And how are we going to trust Admiral Byrd? Hold on. How are we
Wouldn't you
going to trust Admiral Byrd anyway? That's military, right?
So stick to gumballs for a minute. Adam, are you saying that any attempt to guess how many in the jar would blow up in the guy's face?
When I'm guessing how many's in the jar, I can see the jar and it's full. So I can see how big the jar is. So I'm using my brain, aren't I, with reasoning. And the way it comes out is the average of reasoning comes out to be true for whatever reason. But that's because you're looking at it with reasoning. You're not looking at anything.
They didn't get it 10th.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, then if you know this,
we got it. We're ignoring the pun.
If you know the size of the jar, like a gumball container.
You're trying to Wrigley out of the way here.
They can hear you, no
Wrigley.
tanks. They just want a pun. So
yeah, I heard it.
He said Wrigley out of the way. That was a spear miss there.
This is getting mental.
Let's just today, Tim.
Thank you, Adam.
Let me get the gum out of my ear.
Wow.
Right. So the point would be that you'd have to see the Earth as a whole in order to say 70% water and this and that, right? I think it was Elijah that was making that point.
No, I think they have they claim to know the land masses, right? Like we know how far it is from east to west and then north to south on a continent, right? And then they claim to
Oh
know
my
the
God!
entire
What?
ocean.
Can we get on the same page of look? Man, when we get, what do you mean they claim? We're talking about knowing. You know you can't see the Earth. There's no like, it's like, what are you holding on to? Like you're hoping that they're telling the truth about the land masses. I mean,
I'm saying we can
I
verify.
mean,
Like I can drive
we
from
have
coast
some
to coast. I
distance
mean,
and
yeah.
stuff
So,
like that. Yeah,
right.
driving from point A to point B is not going to tell you the size of an entire body.
What are you saying we
Right.
can
So
verify, no tanks?
I can verify from A to B. Yeah, like on a within a state with an imaginary line, a state line, cross it and say it took me this long to get there at this speed, or however I want to measure it.
It's mostly since let's go ahead for a second and believe that the Earth is mostly water. I don't know if that's true or not. Whatever. If that's the case, then the method for measurement it can't be determined over water, and that's what we live. With if it's most of that, it's not going to be, how you would calculate a ground, distance. Or
If I'm on like one of the Hawaii,
you can't do that over water.
I mean, if I'm on one of the Hawaiian islands, right, and I'm like, all right, I'm in my car, it takes me like an hour just to get across the island, right, and then I get on a boat going the same exact speed, and I know, listen, I've been on this boat for like 15 hours,
That's
I'm
what
still
I'm
not
trying to tell
inland.
you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The formula for that is different. That's all. If you don't know that, ask somebody who can explain it better than me. But just like you described, however you know how far or how long or how fast it took you to get to point A, from point A to point B on land, is not the same over water or in the sky. It's not
Right,
the
it's not.
same.
But I'm just going to make an assumption after being on the boat for 15 hours that this water is bigger than that land. More water than land.
Depending on how many assumptions you want to make, why not just live on the globe? I mean, because if assumptions don't make you uneasy about this world, someone telling you to take on an assumption or you having to convince someone to take on an assumption, if that doesn't make you uneasy, you may as well just believe in the globe.
Right now, I'm standing on the top of like imaginary on the top of an island in Hawaii, and I can see the end of the land, right? But no matter, I can't see the end of the water. So I'm going to assume that the water is a larger area than the land. Yeah, I mean, if that makes you uneasy, I don't know. I mean, that's tough.
Doesn't seem unreasonable to me. What's your objection, Eli?
Yeah, but my point is, you can't measure distance over water or in the air like you do on land. Now, he just conceded to my first point, that if you believe that it's mostly water, then what you're trying to determine based on distance, you could never do. Not
Can I throw on
if the
my
whole
2
Earth,
cents worth?
if the whole Earth was just land, you can drive over it. I mean, maybe, but
we could use celestial navigation, couldn't we? Let's see.
Thank you, Adam. If when the sun moves 15 degrees in 1 hour, that's 900 miles. That's 900 nautical miles it moved. So we know there's 24 times 15, that's 21,600. So of what we know the sun and where it can be seen and tracked, that much we know, but we don't know what it's over the whole size of the Earth. We don't know what that is.
The point we was getting asked, I'm not sure it was in.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Are you saying, I just want on that point though, are you saying that we could stand on one coastline and then measure how long it takes for the sun to get to us on another coastline and then know the length of the ocean just for using the sun?
Well, that's what they do. They use for longitude, they use Greenwich as the zero start line, and the sun is either east of it or west of it. And so if you're
yeah.
at sea and it's set to high noon, but it's set to high noon, by the way. So if you're at sea and your high noon is your local time, you have to match that with Greenwich high noon time. So if you're 3 hours off into the Atlantic, then you're 45 degrees, 40. So that's 45 times 60 nautical miles. So it'll tell you exactly where you are from Greenwich to that. Sun moved from there to there, high noon to high noon. But that doesn't tell you everything about the Earth. That just tells you whoever could track the sun at high noon is able to have that information of how much it went west. I mean, again, we're talking about Antarctica, and according to Admiral Byrd, which we all seen the Longines black and white show, there's a continent bigger than the United States. Okay, well, who's gone there to see this? I mean, other than him saying it, they won't even let you down there. So you're asking us to tell you what that is. Well, we don't know what that is. We don't know how far it goes. We don't know how big the Earth is. We know what the sun movement tells us.
That was my point, Tenth, in that we're talking about measuring A to B, C to D, whatever. But we've got all these others, F to G, that we don't even know where F and G are, or if they're even there at all. So you've only got the known land masses. But when you've got your denominator, but you've not got your numerator because it's unknown. So whatever you work out is ultimately worthless because you don't know the numerator of the proportion you're trying to figure out. It can be as accurate as you want
good point.
with the information you've got, which ultimately is talking about on a ball. That's the only point that we've got confines.
Well, it's flat Earth angle measurements first, then it's projected onto a ball, and then reprojected back onto a flat map. And so when you get through all that craziness, it's whatever you have at that time to use. If I can't see the sun, I can't use it. If I can't see Polaris because it's low on the horizon and it's 5,400 nautical miles away from me, because that's 90 degrees, 5,400 nautical miles, 90 times 60, then I can't see it anymore. But I'm still going south, and there's more stuff to go south to, but I can't see Polaris. So I already know that the equator line is the defining line of 90 degrees with a flat Earth angle measurement to Polaris. But I could still keep going south because Polaris is north. But how far can I go south? That I don't know. Now, they'll say that, well, it's the same 90 to the Antarctica, which they've got as a continent. Well, is it a continent? It is 90 degrees, but what am I using to get my 90 for the south? I don't have a North Star or a South Star down there. I have to use other stars and kind of make a best guess because it's just this black space where south would be in space compared to North Pole would be in space. So again, we don't, they don't allow us to go down there to see the contour of Antarctica. They just won't let us see it.
Alrighty then.
Whilst in this moment of quiet, Nathan, if I just could say thank you to Divergent Droid.
Oh,
yeah. I reached 501 subs, mostly because he's spamming me, Academia. So just say thanks, dude, and hopefully you catch this on the replay. Thank you.
DD is 8. Thank you, DD. You kept pushing my GoFundMe as well. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. You always say hi to me when I show up.
Who are you thanking? Divergent Droid?
Yeah.
Just the
Yes,
best
sir.
moderator ever. Come on.
The only golden wrench out there.
Just on this topic, Nathan often talks, and we mentioned the phrase "feast of nonsense." It really is. Admiral Byrd, Iron Republic. You can go as far. There's so much out there in the flat earth postulations of just fantasy. The Saturn becoming a next sun on an outer where there's more land. All of this is just, you have to accept you don't know. And until we do know, those sorts of questions and ponderances are just fantasy and of no value. They're just part of the feast of nonsense. They're just what ifs. I don't think, certainly don't, whilst it's fun sometimes to think and, you know, and imagine, it doesn't really serve our argument at all. If anything, topics like that weaken it, because the only response you ever give is postulation. There's nothing solid.
Okay.
Are you saying
Yeah, I
Admiral
think
Byrd is a
that's
piece of
why
nonsense?
the show is set. That's why this show is set apart from the others, is because we don't make claims unless we can back them. And maybe some of these things are nice coffee talk items, or over a beer you want to talk about some of these other things. You say, well, you got any evidence for it? You have anything to substantiate your claims? No, I don't. I just heard it. I'm just kind of looking at, okay, fine, it's good talk, but if you're going to have a debate show and you're going to be professional about it, only share what you know and what you can defend.
Hey, according to these other clowns, that's what flat Earth debate is. We don't have no proof of anything.
Well, that's what Adam is just remarking on. So here's flat Earth debate, and someone comes with something that we don't have any verification. We ask, do they have any verification? They don't have any verification. And then it gets labeled, okay, we don't know, feast of nonsense, move on. It just happened with the ether not too many months ago. It's non-manifest. Well, how do you know it's there? Well, it's there, but yeah, but you just said it was non-manifest. Yeah, we don't know. Well, then why are you talking about it?
Because nothing can exist.
Yeah, by the way, did you get any answers yet, Adam? You're still what do you call that guy? We appointed you as the geez, I forgot the name of you.
No.
Yes. Any answers?
No, we were excommunicated because it was bad for their karma to talk to us.
So no definitions for those words? Electrify?
No, we're still waiting. Yeah.
Did you see that Divergent Droid sent a message in Master B?
Yeah.
Said most welcome.
Turned me into a pair of Levi's.
So, Adam, was it? Adam,
I got 501 subs.
They were losing people, and it was bad. No, you gain people. It's bad for their karma, so they're probably losing people. So we better stop talking about this.
You guys better start yakking, or he's gonna close this up.
Yeah, I was just
The
about to
best
say.
one.
I was just gonna say
The best one.
I haven't
Yeah,
heard.
I will. Now, hang on.
No.
Gosh, commentary. I'm yakking. All right. The best part was when Jaron says you can't science. Bob says they did science, and then Whitsitt comes in there and says you could science, and then that fourth guy says, "Well, we can't science now, but one day we might be able to."
I was just
That
gonna
was
say I haven't heard.
hilarious.
I was just gonna say I haven't heard a word from anybody, or even heard Issa being brought up anymore. So I think we did a thorough job on that.
Did anybody recover this video on relative density? And how it's debunked? Is that still a thing or what?
Who's it that did it?
No, it was retracted. It's on Jaren's channel. It's retracted.
Just to provide an opposing comment to Adam's comment, I guess there isn't the whole backbone of their philosophy or their model based in what they think and fantasizing. They use the media and shows to get people's imagination to think about it. So why
in their world, yeah.
Why wouldn't? Yeah.
I think he's got to carry on, Hammer.
Why wouldn't producing like I don't know, flat flat Earth sort of fiction type stuff to capture people's imagination help to maybe ease them into it? Maybe some of the more resistant. Not that it's our responsibility or anything like that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, fiction being the key word. Do you mean like in things like the Iron Republic, where there are flat Earth realms that people, that sort of fiction? As long as it's labelled fiction, I've got no problem with that. It's when that fiction is purported to be true or representative of a position like a flat earther has, that is representative. That just seems disingenuous and I'd say negative to our cause. We're trying to stop people building their worldview based on fiction.
Both camps use a sextant that can only work with a horizontal, flat, straight, level surface for an elevation angle. Flat Earth is what they have to work off of.
It's what they do work off.
That's all we got to show. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's all we got to show and get that argument. And the Black Swan is the destroyer of the globe fiction. It's just, I actually use the Black Swan more because it's such a destroyer of the supposed R. And then it gets people to say, well, if we're not living on the globe with an R value, it's demonstrated. What are we living on? I go, well, there's a tool that they use. There we go. 1 and 2.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's most
perfect
people's
soon.
reaction is to want their belief to be replaced immediately without even understanding what the argument it is that debunks their belief. They always want a replacement immediately.
You're right, because that's what's going on with my son right now. He keeps trying to bait me into conversation, and all he wants is a replacement, and I'm not biting.
I give it to him. I give him the replacement. You've been deceived. We've been deceived. Now go research on your own.
Yeah, that's not what they want.
Use logic and reason to figure out what.
Yeah, but
no,
that's
I
not
know
a
it's not what
replacement.
they want, but that's the one I give them.
No, they want a prepackaged new
It
religious
is
belief
if
with a new
they
church.
would have it. I'm not going to be. I know what you guys are saying. I'm trying to tell you what I say. It's a little bit different. The replacement is you've been awakened that you've been deceived. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to sit here till you give me a replacement. I go, well, then you're a stupid sheep.
They want one ready-made tent.
You want a
Then he's a
replacement for the
stupid sheep.
model
That's
that
what
you
sheep
didn't
want.
know, you didn't understand about anything about that I just told you. Now you want to replace it in order to believe what I am saying? No, I don't hand out
They
teddy
want
bears
you
after destroying
they want
yours.
you to replace the authority that just got destroyed. They need a new authority figure.
Exactly.
And they want the person destroying it to be that.
Yes, and if
And
you're
my
not,
and my res-
then they want to be able
Is
to
Kiwi
invalidate
still
what
here?
you've debunked. So if you debunk the globe Earth and aren't a substitute authority, then they won't accept the debunking. So in other words, they allow themselves to relinquish what you've debunked. So we've debunked the sphere Earth. Give me the replacement. Oh, you can't? Well, then I don't accept that you've debunked it.
Right.
Yeah.
I tell them, if you're looking for an authority,
Kiri still here?
why don't you start with your senses first? Because that's the authority that gets you around and lets you be able to navigate the world that you live in. Why don't you try there first, instead of looking for a textbook or a cool article to tell you what the world is? Accept what your senses tell you about what the world is.
Yeah, and they'll refer to
Start
their
there.
senses and say, well, the sun and the moon look round, so why wouldn't the earth be? And that's how they appeal to their own senses, which is an appeal
Chocolate.
to the previous authority.
Chocolate, it's funny you said that, because the guy the other night,
Yeah,
that's
I'll
what I
ask
was
again.
trying to, that's what I was trying to
Oh,
ask him.
gosh.
He had a major delay. That's what I was trying to ask him. What did you experience? Do you ever
Yeah,
experience a globe Earth? And he kept taking me to other things. I was trying to say, but what do you experience? Flat and motionless. You can't tell me you experience movement and sphere. Bullshit.
I'll try asking again. Is Kiri still here?
It depends.
Good. I remember you saying something once. Can you repeat it about you're not here to convert people?
From me.
No, QE. I mean, I did say
Yes.
QE, right?
Yeah, you did, but I piped up because that's typically something I say.
Yeah, I think Brian said it first.
I know, but
A couple of weeks before I did, yeah.
That's good. That's really
I
good.
went stole it from
So
his
without
brain.
further ado, QE. That's
10th, I
without
just woke-
further Neil and ado.
10th, I just woke up. Okay, what did you say? Go ahead, do it again.
I remember you saying that your involvement in your channel and the whole flat Earth debate is not about converting people, but exposing a lie, and then you leave them or up to them to go research on their own to find the truth. I remember you saying that.
Yeah, that's correct. You want me
Yeah,
to say
that's
it
what I
again?
did.
You just said it.
because no, the reason it came up, because you're just waking up, is because you won't find out if you're dealing with sheep or a lion.
Yeah, that was my mission when I first came out here many, many years ago, long before Flat Earth. Wasn't to convert anyone. What it was to expose the liars and the pretender clowns, and then leave it up to the people that are listening, the audience members, to say, "Oh, light goes on," and then they don't go find out for themselves. Because I'm not in the business of conversion. I don't do that.
Yep.
Yep.
Crush, kill, destroy.
Just on the subject of the relative density disequilibrium debunked, that's disappeared. That you can see on screen, it's there now. There appears to be a replacement.
It says video unavailable. Now we've seen
Yes, it does. And then this came out, which is a trailer video called Relative Density Disequilibrium. And this can be watched if you subscribe to Watfin. So it's been taken down. So I don't know whether that's it's been taken down and relabeled, but it appears to be available over there. I would point out the relabeling. It's no longer debunked. It's just relative density disequilibrium.
A lot of people are talking about an upward acceleration now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh man. Don't you guys got anything? Nathan is not impressed.
Who cares?
Right, excuse me.
I'm not here to impress or convert.
So Nathan,
Just entertain.
I'm not
right,
here to
Neil?
convert anybody.
I don't know. I don't get.
I will not.
Don't get
I will
tons of
not be
emails.
threatened to end the show.
Don't get tons of emails saying thank you for converting me.
So Nathan, are we going to do Sabine tomorrow?
I
Yeah, if you
was
like.
just thinking that. You guys didn't do Sabina Hassenfeather yet, Bruce Springsteen?
Bruce Springsteen.
Yep. Tomorrow
He's a
show.
very
hopefully.
good-looking fella.
Bring me my Hasselpfeffer.
We started to, QE.
You started to, and then you didn't finish it?
Well, are we going to do it tomorrow then?
Because nobody can keep on to one thing. Everybody wants to jump to this one and jump to that one. And one guy wants you to get on TikTok, and this one wants you to do that. Just do one thing.
4 more hours.
So Nathan, are we going to do Sabina tomorrow for the review?
Yes.
Okay. So I won't post one. We'll just use that one.
Yeah, I'll need it reposting tomorrow, but yeah.
What did you do any today?
Did
Okay,
3.
I'll repost it tomorrow.
You did 3?
Yeah.
Damn.
Did David Mitchell, Bill Nye, and I've forgotten what the other one was. What was the second one we did 10th? Oh, yeah.
Was it Dan Cummins?
Dan Cummins.
Was it Dan Cummins? Someone
Yes.
was.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
I only heard of one of those guys.
Which one? David Mitchell? Oh, Bill Nye.
Bill Nye.
What was the second guy? Dan Cummins? Is he a tosser?
What? He a what?
Is he a what?
That word you used, tosser. Dan Cummins?
He's American, so I don't know. You can call him a tosser if you want to.
Did you say tosser, Neil?
winkers.
Say it again. Hold on, Chocolate. I want to hear tosser again by Neil.
I'll say it in proper English. Is he a tosser?
I think arbiters of tosserism.
What, are you making a
is,
salad?
Adam. It's going to be my cue to round out, isn't it? If we're discussing whether or not somebody's a tosser.
Well,
Yes,
a name
round
like
up.
Cummins.
Oh, brother.
Gee, Neil, what are you thinking about?
It's best to ask Neil
All
closed-ended
right, I'll see you
questions.
tomorrow.
Okay, see you tomorrow.
Is 10th 5 seconds behind everyone or what?
Yes.
I
he is.
keep telling you that. Nobody
Yes, he
listens
is,
to
yes.
me.
I don't know why. It's just some weirdness.
I've got a question for QE.
Oh, man. I just woke up,
I was
dude.
just about to round out.
Can't be doing heavy stuff.
It's okay. Sorry about that. Then next time.
I'll bet you
I'll leave it for you.
Tepio,
don't-
right?
Well, next time, nothing. Tell them you're here now. Ask them the damn question.
That's
Go
right.
No one wants to close out. They don't want to have Nathan close out. That's too funny.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around a wave function. What is a wave function? Is it something that can be seen, or is it only something mathematical?
B.
Sorry?
B.
It's mathematical.
Yeah, it's a mathematical construct. You can't see a wave function. Wave function's mathematical. As soon as you hear function, then that gives the game away.
Okay, but to detect the wave function or to have a wave function is essential to the understanding of what's taking place in the quantum eraser double slit experiment.
Quantum eraser double slit. What the hell is that? And it's not. What did you say? To detect it, you don't detect wave functions. Wave functions are conjured in an attempt to somehow explain, more or less describe what's happening in the experiment.
Well, see, that's why I have a little problem, because one of the criticisms that I hear that you've leveled against others, that things are conjured in an experiment, yet you're using that word with something that is essential to understanding these experiments.
It's not understanding the experiments. It's the description of a wave function.
But if you can't see it, it's not something physical. You can't see it. It's only a mathematical description. This is where I'm having a struggle, because again, a 10th man did a very extensive discussion about science and what it is, and he went through math and its association, and we have quotations such as what was said by, who was it, that these scientists today go off in calculation after calculation, and it leads them away from pure science.
Yeah, I'm still not, excuse me, I'm still not catching your drift. The experiment is not to tell whether there's a wave function or not. You have the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Right, and you guys can discuss that on your own, because I've had an issue with Discord, and I can't get rid of the black page. It won't let me change the scene, so it's going to have to be a point that I round out, unless I want a continuous live or recorded stream with a blank page on it. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say a massive thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams. Hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!